Faye Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates. For whatever reason, my live was being seriously interrupted. I was on the air for some time. So I'm going to go grab myself something to drink while I wait for y'all to come back on the live. Yes. So let me go grab something. What you want, girly girl? Becoming a common occurrence that don't make no sense. You feel me? So anyway, what I was saying, no sense. You feel me? So anyway, what I was saying, and I'll wrap it up. I'm not going to make this long. Is the mother, but we're still thinking from the perspective that we had and we had been taught by the patriarchal religions of our youth. That quote, God allows whatever happens in the world, nothing in the world happens without, or allows it to happen. Like he's not the cause of evil, but he allows evil to happen. What would be the reason that he allows evil to happen? And so now we have started taking that idea imposed on us as children and superimposing it on our relationship with the mother, trying again to reason, trying again to make sense of, and those questions about the why only apply to a godhead of war that needs to justify the unjustifiable. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that when you ask the question, why would the mother allow this to be? My answer is she would not. Not only is my answer she would not allow this to be, it is to say, well, if she would not allow this, people have asked, well, why did patriarchy happen? If patriarchy is so bad and has done so much damage, why did it happen? And I want to remind you, I'll just use this as the example. So I'm showing you, right? This symbol, the pentagram, the 5-pointed star as a symbol of the 5 elements, right? You know this symbol that I'm always showing you, this one in particular, this symbol that I am always showing you of the yin and yang, right? And these, if you could see it the way that it is, the way that the philosophy teaches, is that it wouldn't be a 2-dimensional symbol. It would be a 5-dimensional, perpetually moving, ebbing in and out of itself, flowing in and out of itself, consuming, mutually consuming. I don't even know about it. For whatever reason, I cannot see if you guys are commenting or anything. It says that I'm still live. It says that there's still like 17 people on the call, but I cannot see anything outside of that. I cannot see any comments, any feedback, or anything. I'm going to keep going and make this short so I can at least finish this thought before getting back to what I'm getting back to, okay? But if I hate that because it's always when I'm in a train of thought that I'm trying to complete. But this symbol, remember I was saying, is mutually consuming, right? It is ebbing and flowing. It's a 5-dimensional symbol. It's not 3-dimensional. It's 5. It represents all time, all space, all dimensions, existing simultaneously, mutually consuming, mutually interchangeable. One becomes the other and all of these things. This is the symbol. Then what happened? That's what I'm all the dance between philosophy and like spirituality and ideology and politics and science have to be understood together, right? Because they exist together simultaneously, even in the symbol, right? And if that is the case, and we know that the world moves cyclically, right? That the mother that the mother's creation is not, quote, a creation of perfection. And that's what the antagonist to the mother really relied on. They relied on the stringent, repeatable, stagnant, narrow philosophy of, quote, a left dominant brain completely uninformed by the right brain. If it didn't involve science, mathematical computations, repeatability, do, it could not be considered perfect. That's why they needed a perfect father God, because the mother God is messy. Not only is she messy, not only is there imperfection woven into her creation, the imperfection is needed to sharpen and become better, and to give us the evidence and the cyclical process of what we call evolution. The death, the birth, and the death, the life, and the birth, the life, death, and reincarnation process. It's not, quote, perfection. It's not, quote, calculable to a mathematically precise doop-de-doop-de-doop, right? And that was problematic for especially like the fathers of reason and the fathers of the age of enlightenment and the matriarchal, the dark, the feminine aspect of the sciences was too messy. It was too messy. It was, quote, too incalculable. It was too dirty, right, for these different philosophical worldviews that were coming up at the bourgeoning of patriarchy. And so when I say that, I hope you can hear that the question that you ask, because even when you talk about, quote, a perfect society, or when you talk about like egalitarianism or, quote, a utopia or anything like that, it is the presumption that we're still, again, looking for a permanent regularity that we can rely on. We have a problem with evolution in the way that it looks. We have a problem with change. We have a problem with those things that we can't, quote, predict, right? And so science has offered a level of comfort and regularity and dependability that only comes with this idea of perfection and sterility and cleanliness and order that only comes from a left brain dominant mentality that completely obliterates the necessity of right brain consciousness and thinking, right? That's why the brain had to be split in half in 2 ways, right? Left brain from right brain, conscious mind from subconscious mind. Those splits had to happen because the philosophers of old, the, quote, scientists and doctors of old and all of this stuff had a hard line problem with the fact that the feminine was showing up everywhere, in all the sciences and all the everything. It was showing up everywhere, and this was problematic because she governs chaos. Chaos is a necessity. It is a necessity, and it is a predetermining factor for order. Order cannot exist without chaos because order requires, what's the word I'm looking for? Order, chaos is what's the word I'm looking for? Order can only come from a process governed by chaos. You cannot even understand the concept of order without understanding chaos. When we talk about the Big Bang Theory, or when we talk about, quote, the cosmic egg cracking, or whatever, quote, origin story or beginning story or creation story that we have or that exists, chaos always pre-exists before our understanding, our current understanding of order. Chaos must pre-exist in order for order to exist. This too is the understanding of the yin and yang. The black and the yang represents chaos, and the white and the yang represents order. The two need each other in order to function harmoniously and in harmonious balance. This is required. And so when we don't need to ask why the mother would allow this. She didn't allow this. She has not allowed this. There's a reason that I'm talking about this. This is the philosophy, okay? How it shows up in real time, how it shows up in the birth of patriarchy, how it helps us to understand this place that we exist in right now that we're all trying to understand, even as we're trying to, quote, navigate our way through it and change it, change our circumstances. What is it that was able to be used? How is it? Especially when you guys go back, I would encourage you in preparation for the live I'm going to do tonight to go back to that live in my on my YouTube channel. So go onto my YouTube channel and then in the search engine put part 1 : chapter 45 of the Great Cosmic Mother. I would encourage you to re-listen to this live today in preparation for what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm giving you an overview because I'm on one right now, but the way I started this conversation was talking about how we, females in particular, females, not exclusively, but in particular, females, the power recognized and fully accepted even into the established patriarchal age, that there was an inherent and embodied force of creation, creative power embodied in those born with uteruses, whether they use their uteruses to create children or not, that there was something peculiarly recognized and accepted for thousands of years in the creative process, power, and possibilities embodied in those born with uteruses. And for a long time, even well into a few thousand years into the well-established patriarchal age, that even emperors and kings and rulers accepted and acknowledged and built societies around this recognized embodied power of women. This is why the culture of the Sibyls was accepted for 3,000 years in Europe. This was why temples in ancient Greece and in Rome were erected to house these Sibyls, to attempt to corral this power for their benefit and for their use. That's why. And when I talk to you about, and I mean it, when I talk to you about these stolen images, these stolen archetypes, these stolen stories, and how these were well thought out strategic plans to attempt to corral this widely accepted power embodied in women, how to corral it, how to contain it, how to control it, how to exploit it, and eventually how to extract it so that you can consume it, and in your mind you become the facilitator, you become the face of this power that was exclusively the domain of these female people who had a direct line in their relationship to the mother. That's what has happened. So what we have come to, quote, call, because you hear I don't say that anymore. What we articulate as, quote, white power or white supremacy is spell casting. But how is it spell casting? It is taking the power of the oppressed and imposing a narrative that gives power to this thing that does not currently exist, right? The thing that does not exist is white power. The thing that does not exist is white supremacy. That shit don't exist. The only reason that we experience that it can have an impact on our life is because we breathe life into it. Do you hear what I'm telling you? We breathe life into it. We, the object of the aggression. Now, I do say white nationalism. That is a different articulation than me, quote, giving power to some words that are spells intended to extract the very palpable, calculable, evidentiary power of us giving life force, pranayama, chi, essence, you feel me, to this concept that outside of us breathing life into it would not exist. I hope you're hearing me, because this woman getting on this IG feed today talking about y'all really need to pay attention to what's going on with Project Esther because it is terrifying and we have to prepare for what is to come. She gave life to something that ain't real. Project Esther ain't law. Project Esther is just an idea right now, ain't it? Even though it's a written idea, it's an idea. It's not your life. It is not a guarantee. It is not inevitable. What they are relying on is the corralling of your fear around this conspiracy that they have drafted. Project Esther is a conspiracy, child. No different than the conspiracy that we have been chanting every day. Project Esther is a conspiracy that they have written and, quote, let slip. You know what I'm saying? Like, let loose in the world. I'm going to tell you something else that's going to irritate your senses. I remember when, during Biden's administration, the first year, as a matter of fact, Biden hadn't even been in office 6 months, as a matter of fact. Biden's administration, during his administration, remember that before Roe was overturned, remember maybe 3 weeks before, 4 weeks before Roe was officially overturned, they said there was a leak. There was a leak. Of course, nobody ever knows where the, quote, leaks come from. There was, quote, a leak from the Supreme Court that the Chief Justice was drafting a proposal to overturn Roe v. Wade. Remember that? And nobody paid attention to the fact that it was, quote, this mysterious leak, right? What happened as soon as y'all found out about the leak? Y'all found out about the leak, okay? Y'all took to the streets out of rage and out of fear and, oh my God, if this passes, doopy-doo, whoopie-woo, thousands, scores of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets about this leak. This conspiracy that was drafted to facilitate the overturning of Roe v. Wade. It was not law. It had not been done. And what y'all did, this is my position. You can disagree if you want to, but I'm talking about what we're doing. It was not law. It was not etched in stone. It was an ambition. It was a goal. It was like a feeler deliberately thrown out to see what the response in the world would be. There was no leak. God damn it, there was no leak. That was deliberate. That, quote, leak was deliberate to ensure the outcome. It needed enough power behind it. It needed enough force behind it. It needed enough life force behind it. It needed enough breath given to it. It needed enough breath to give life to what was what? The certain outcome. What do we say in the temple? We say in the temple what? That we don't pray, we conspire. Why do we say that we conspire? Because to conspire means what? To breathe together. That's what it says. Conspire means to breathe together to ensure a certain, what is certain? Definitive, definite, a certain outcome. And it was used, the word came in, boy, do that somewhere else. Why you always want to sit up under me to scratch your ass? Go somewhere else and do that. Go. The word conspiracy lived, its origins were in music. Its origins were we blow together or, quote, breathe together to ensure a certain outcome. What is the certain outcome? That if we all breathe together, there will be one piece of music that we create. That piece of music will be certain. The song will be certain. The piece of music, no matter what our movements are and the variances of the information that we read in the sheet music or whatever, that we all play our particular and specific role in the creation of one song, not a multi. There's 30 different instruments. Everybody got their own sheet music. Is there 30 different songs that are being played? No. There is one song that is being produced. It is the idea written down, accepted by the group, and then the last part of it is what? Giving breath to it. Just like so-called your God, when he, quote, etched Adam out of the dirt. Was Adam a human? Was Adam a human when God, quote, shaped him out of the dirt? No, he was not. It wasn't until what? God supposedly picked him up and breathed life into him that he went from dirt, just piled up dirt, but when he went from dirt to what? To a human, to a living entity with a destiny. And so here, y'all took to the streets, not strategically. Y'all took to the streets, not to say this shit will not happen on our watch. Fuck what you heard. Y'all didn't say those words. Y'all didn't say those words. Not in our watch. Not on our watch. Not one step backwards. Y'all didn't say that. Forever forward. Y'all didn't say that. Y'all didn't say that. Y'all reacted as what? Y'all have been saying it over and over and over again, even to this day. They're trying to take us back to a place in history where women didn't have no rights. Y'all, in those words, based in your fear, not accepting that your past does not have to be repeated. So that's a narrative somebody implanted in your skull. That, there's nothing new under the sun. That's some bullshit. What else y'all be saying? That history is bound to be repeated. That's some bullshit. What else y'all be saying? Y'all be saying all kind of shit. That is a narrative imposed on your skull to galvanize the life force, the life-giving potential of your actual breath. That's everybody, by the way. Yes, the power that is peculiar to those born with uteruses in general, and those born with uteruses who are darker, and those born with uteruses who are black as hell, about the inherent power in those. But everybody that lives on earth, because they came through that same uterus, that same portal, has the power of Ashe when they speak. You call it Ashe, you call it pranayama, you call it chi, whatever your pleasure. This thing gives life. All the time. Every time you speak, it is giving life to something. And so y'all took to the streets as unconscious, fearful, uncertain reactionaries that are giving your breath to recreate the fears and the ills of the past, as opposed to taking to the streets in them numbers and coming up with collective words and ideologies that speak into existence. This will not happen. As a matter of fact, we speak in its opposition, that the power is ours. Huh? What? Wait a minute. What's his name? Oh my God, what's his name? Mike Flo. Ooh, I love this African. Mike Flo is a producer. He's a musician, he's a DJ, but he is most well known for his role in the hip hop group, in the revolutionary conscious hip hop group, Dead Prez. But as a solo artist, he did a song called 24 Karat, or 24K. I think that's the name of the song, 24K. As a matter of fact, Cyrock, the MC, does a cameo in the song. But there is a one-line quote in this song that speaks volumes. Y'all know the song Fight the Power by Public Enemy? We gotta fight the powers that be. You feel me? In this song done by Mike Flo. And we used to love that song. We used to sing that song. Mike Flo in this song 24K that you should check out because it's fire. It's a video on YouTube. But in the song, he says, we don't fight the power, we embrace it. We don't fight the power. We embrace it. We embrace power. We embody power. Power is ours. When we talk about, quote, white power and, quote, white supremacy, we give power to something that otherwise is not real. We made it real by giving it the breath of life, child. We did that. We did that. We did that. And I get why we did that. Because the only way the Godhead of War was able to become a real force in the world is because through a campaign of an unending and uninterrupted campaign of violence and torture and brigandage and bloodshed and fear-mongering in the worst crimes ever committed against humanity, we yielded power. That power that we yielded in the only place that we were told we could be safe and we could seek solace was inside the institutions created by that same Godhead of War. So the only way you can be safe, female, the only way you can receive some type of solace, female, the only way that you can ensure that these crimes that we are committing against, quote, the bad women will not happen to you is to subjugate yourself in the temples of God, whatever those temples are, mosques, synagogues, temples, ashrams, churches, cathedrals. This is the only way you will be at least moderately safe, moderately spared from the torture that you see being levied upon the heads of your sistren around the world and their children around the world. Violence becomes the way, and what has to happen, right, is you go into these institutions, females, because what is the one of the most recent statistics is that I read is like 75% of devout Catholics are women of color. 75% of the world's devout Catholics, 85. I'm gonna have to find that statistic. It's either 75 or 85 of the world's devout Catholics are women of color. And so here you got all these women on their knees, clasping their hands with their eyes closed, meditating, chanting on the, on the rosary, over and over and over again, 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 oh, crying tears, singing songs. Some of the most moving songs on earth to this day are gospel songs sung by radically powerful Black women, and everything that comes out of their mouth is giving life to the Godhead of a death cult, giving life to the Godhead of a death cult. Do you understand what I'm telling you? That even today, I am hearing people talk about, these natural disasters and, the fires on the plantations and doo-dee-doo and this and that and whoop-de-woo and wah-wah-bah-bah-bah-bah-bah-bah. I'm even hearing white people talk about, the gods of Black Americans is coming to get us and that kind of shit. And the white people saying that and the Black people saying that are talking in their mind's eye about the same God. Because when Black people talk about, God show got our back, they still see in their mind's eye a white, heavenly, super spiritual Father God sitting up on a throne in heaven. And guess what? The white people who are, quote, scared of the God of Black people who coming to get us, guess what? They talking about the same person. I'm sitting here watching this video about these white people who have gone off into the mountains of Arkansas to create their all-white community, and y'all mad. Y'all Black people is mad. Why y'all mad? I don't understand. Why are you mad about white people who say we do not want to live in the world the way that it is, so we're gonna buy us some land and go up into the mountains and live by ourselves and do our own thing, and y'all are mad? Please make it make sense. Please make it make sense. These white people are up there talking about God and their future and this and this and this and this. Y'all want to go live with them? If you don't want to go live with them, why are you mad? They, in their mind, see that they are the victims of the world in their insanity, because they are insane. In their insanity, they really believe that they are the victims of the world. They are the victims of the world. They are the victims of every colored person on earth, you feel me? And this is the way that they believe they can be safe from us terrible people out in the world, us colored folks, us marginalized folks, us LGBTQIA plus people in the world. Baby, go do you somewhere. Go do you somewhere. Go do that. Why y'all mad? Why y'all making this an issue? These white people. And even as they talk about God and country and this and that and this and that, the thing that still blows my mind is in 2025, these white people with rebel flags doing this and this and this and this, talking about God and country and patriotism and this and this and this and that. And you black and brown and red and yellow and poor people have in your skull the same image of the same God. You do. You do. And regardless of the complexion of that Father God in the sky somewhere, child, regardless of his complexion, he requires your suffering. He requires not only your suffering, but for you to give life to the continuation of your suffering. Yes, he does. Not only for you to continue to give life to your suffering, but to always puzzle in your mind why this has to be, why it has to be this way, right? And so instead of speaking life into the future, speaking life into the future that you want, speaking life into the future you want to see made real, you are perpetually giving that same life force to this malignancy of the past continuously. And if you are female in doing that, you are giving supreme power to the life, to the prolonging of the life of what is supposed to be inevitably over. Every time you speak, it's like this sister said today, we have to prepare for what is to come. She made that shit an inevitability in them words. She didn't say we have to stop it. That's not what she said. She didn't say we have to ensure that this never happens. That's not what she said. That's not what she said. That would be simple. Not on our watch. We have to do whatever we have to do to make sure that this shit never gets life, never becomes a reality. That's not what she said. That's not, as a matter of fact, not what a single solitary person I have heard talk about this thing say. Not one. Nobody has said it. Y'all, fuck what you heard. We gonna read this bullshit, but fuck, this will never happen. This will never, this is a different day. This is a different day and not on our watch. My grandmama, my great-grandmama, my grandfathers, my struggle, my this and this and this and it. My people didn't struggle for this to be the outcome of the future that they prayed for, wished for. They didn't lose life and limb for this to be the outcome, for this to be the future. So I'll be slipping. I'll be slipping if I allow this shit to happen. And then that becomes the basis for every word that you speak, not on our motherfucking watch. Next motherfucker, what? You feel me? Next. What next? What you got next that we can chant the fuck down? What you got next? Y'all came up in here. Y'all stepped into this most powerful year. Y'all stepped into all y'all in Aquarius. Neptune in Aries, Saturn in Aries, Uranus in Gemini. You stepped into it, yielding power, relinquishing power. Why? Through a state of despair and uncertainty and fear. Because, oh my God, Trump in office, this gonna be all things bad. But that is the energy that you gave him. That is the power that you gave him. I'm trying to give you a word. Because we can't have it both ways. I say, we can't have it both ways. We cannot say that this is an illusion. We cannot say, we cannot believe, we cannot accept that this is an illusion, right? That the power that we have perceived inherent in, quote, the bosses and the owners and the nobility and the aristocracy and the church and the this and the this and the this and the this and this and this and this and this. We cannot believe that it has been stolen and co-opted power of the mothers, and at the same time not believe that we do not have the power to change, to overcome, to what is the word I'm looking for? To overturn this project. You feel me? Why is it that these two religions, well, all three of them, really, Judaism, Christianity / Catholicism, and Islam, why is it that a chief cornerstone of each one of these religions, who are brother religions, who are fraternal religions, why is the chief primary cornerstone the absolute subjugation of women? If you hate women so much, why can't you just send them away? Because you need them. If you hate women so much and you know that in your mind they are valueless spiritually, why would you keep them in proximity to you? You feel me? If you believe that female-bodied people, right, are the progenitors of all evil, that's what your scriptures say, that they are the facilitators and progenitors of all evil, why would you have evil living in your house? Why would you allow evil in your temples, in your mosques, and this and that, and such and such? If they are the chief progenitors, they have the closest relationship to the devil himself, Shaitan and Satan and Lucifer and all of these things. If you really believe this, as males, as devotees of these fraternal religions, why keep them so close? These progenitors of evil, these baiters of lust, these facilitators of your most evil desires, these seductresses, these succubuses, because we all the things, we all them things in these religions' minds. Why then, if these are the progenitors of all evil possible in the imaginations of men, if we, because we gave you flesh and flesh is inherently filthy, why do you rely so heavily on not only the presence of, but the proximity to, and the absolute subjugation of female-bodied people? There's one place on earth, right? I forget the name of this place, but it's off the coast of Greece. It's been there, I don't remember how long. I saw a whole documentary about it. But it is, and it's been there for a long, long time. And it is a place on earth where there are absolutely no women allowed. They are so staunch about the no women policy that there are no female animals allowed on the island. Do you hear what I'm telling you? No female animals allowed on the island. It is an island of Catholic monk devotees, okay? Off the coast of Greece. It exists today. The way that it has been able to thrive and survive economically is through donations from around the world. Men who proclaim, we ain't even Catholic, but we love the idea of there being a space somewhere on earth that's just for us, that's just for men. And they have male visitors. So you can take a tour, you can stay 4 days, you can stay 4 weeks if you like. I forget the name of it, off the coast of Greece. As a matter of fact, there was one woman who was an investigative reporter, I think in like the 1930s or something like that. She was like, bump that. I want to go see what's happening on the island of the men. For whatever reason, you have me tell it that's some women shit. You feel me? For whatever reason, she was determined as an investigative reporter to get on that island and see what was happening on the island of men. You feel me? And so she, being a very young woman, they are able sometimes to pass. And so she chopped her hair off, bought her some suits, got herself a pseudonym, you feel me? Because she was working for a pretty popular newspaper. And they gave her the money, and she proceeded to go and do her little thing on the island of men. And I forget how long they said she was there. I forget how long. Days, maybe a week. I don't remember. And she was there for a good period of time before she was found out. And they tossed her ass quickly off the island once they found out. But she had already had these experiences, moving in these circles, boopy doopy doopy doop, you feel me? And so they, after that happened, after this woman, quote, invaded their sacred place. And it's interesting, you guys, it's interesting because this island and the object of their worship, listen to what I'm telling you. Oh, fuck. The object of their worship is not Jesus. They are Catholic monks, but they are from a peculiar sect on this island where females, not even female animals, are allowed. They're called the something of the Mother Mary. The object of their daily worship is Mary, not Jesus. Mary. One of the guys talked about it. They were like, well, damn, if you don't want females on the island, she is the female we need. Nobody else. Now you have me tell it that's some spell casting shit. That's woman is God, right? Because he see the Pope kissing the feet of the Black Madonna. I said, no, boo. What you are witnessing is not him showing respect for an admonition to the Black Madonna. What he is doing is spell casting. What do we call it? We see it crystal clear when we see it in the Bible. The Judas kiss. It is the kiss of betrayal. It is the kiss of betrayal. That kiss, the way your Bible tell it, the kiss that Judas gave to Jesus was the kiss that sealed his death. That's what it did. That's what you witnessing when you see the Pope kissing the feet of the Black Madonna. This spell casting is binding. It's a binding ritual that you are witnessing. And so when these monks on this island where they do not allow even female animals to exist, they was like, we couldn't do nothing about the birds, but we don't allow no female cows. Everything that we take care of, the goats and the chickens and this and that and this and that, we make sure there are no females. We have the male animals imported. You feel me? Whatever. So I was clear when they said, "Oh yeah, we don't focus our ceremony. We don't focus on Jesus as the object of our devotion. We focus on Mary. I said, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's that spell casting shit. That's that spell binding shit there. I'm telling you all of this because those of you to be revolutionary scientists, ask me how I know this is the line. You feel me? To be revolutionary scientists, ask me how I know this is the line. You feel me? Not only that, I have even heard it said in socialism. You feel me? But y'all will not give as so-called political. You feel me? But y'all will not give as so-called political scientists any credence to, any weight to at all. You will not even factor it into your political line, your political strategy, your how you deal with your programs or campaigns. You won't even factor of how you need to base a strategy, a complete way to base a strategy. And this has always been your shortcoming. And I'm trying to tell you people who are actively participating in the temple of evolutionary emergence in general, and in particular, we cannot make the mistake that so-called self-proclaimed revolutionaries and social scientists and political activists are continuously making over and over again. We cannot afford to make that mistake. While yes, I feel like we have to have a political strategy. While yes, I believe that we have to have a social scientific strategy. And yes, I believe that we have to have a cultural strategy. And yes, we have to have a spiritual strategy and a scientific strategy. Yep. We have to re-become. let me make that clarification. We have to re-become the personification of the true Renaissance person, the true Renaissance woman, the true Renaissance man, the true Renaissance person, the all-encompassing, in the process of doing and becoming. And so we don't have the luxury of leaving anything out or shrugging anything off or saying, oh, they crazy because they believe in God or spirit. Honey, everybody has this power potential. It is the ideas in their brain. 85 million Christians on earth, 85 million Christians on earth. And they're, chanting the rosary. You feel me? Praying every day. You feel me? Praying over their food every day. But going to church 2, 3, that foolish or quote, silly. Doesn't matter what you think. It is the belief in their head out into the world and the action that backs all of those things that are impacting your life every day, because these 85 million people convicted through this belief in their heart chakra, speaking it out in prayer, mantra, meditation,